All right, here we are. Hello, everybody. Finally, I have decided to come back to painting. I know it's been some time, and I've been playing a lot of games and things like that, but I was really feeling the itch to do some painting, and so I decided that we finally need to kind of finish this piece. Been working on it for a while, obviously. I think this is like the third week of having worked on this piece, I guess, and I am excited to actually get it finished. So I'm hoping that we can definitely pull that off. It's always fun for me when I come back after a long period of time of not painting, and I have to kind of figure out what I was doing last time I was working on the piece. So, and obviously we're still working on this Christopher Rush Forest. Um, I have actually noticed over time, as the paint has dried and kind of sat here, some of the colors have blended, which is really interesting. They've blended in a way that I was not expecting, especially for the darker colors like the brown and things like that. So we're going to kind of work on this, try to get it all in order, and I definitely want to try and finish it today. I expect to, pretty much. So that's basically what I'm getting into. I'm going to kind of change my page here just a little bit on my screen here so I can see what's going on. Looks like we got somebody hanging out with us. Very nice. Glad to have you in here, whoever you might be. And we're just going to kind of. I have my brush already wet here. It's been sitting in the water for a little bit. And I am going to have to get started with some colors, but I'm not exactly sure where to start. So I'm going to kind of just look at this thing a little bit. I think what I really want to work on is I think I want to stick to brown to start with. And then we'll probably move into some black and kind of shade it differently in a few different ways. Um, just to kind of tone down some of the, like, because it has some black tree trunks in the background that are then shaded lighter with a darker green. So I think I'll start with the brown, move into a little bit of black, and then we'll probably work on some green. And using those colors, we'll probably be able to get the majority of the details. I don't really know how much detail I'm going to put into it based on what point it's at currently. And so this might be a short stream or it might go the full 2 hours. I'm not 100% sure. Based on considering how the majority of it is in fact done, I kind of expect this stream to be a little shorter. But the point is that I want this piece finished today. So I'm going to grab my palette here and I'm going to kind of, I'm looking at all the dry colors and going to basically figure out how to make some of the color that I want based on the older colors that are already located on here, the dried paint and such. So obviously we need a brown, and it looks like this was the most recent brown I was using. I haven't even really scraped it off or anything like that. So I'm going to probably just go ahead and get right into it. I did, I haven't really cleaned this palette. It's getting quite messy. I might have to actually change the paper pretty soon because it's just kind of a big mess. But also the thing is too is that I do kind of really like my palette being a big mess. The reason why is because when my palette is a big mess, I have all these colors that I can reference that I've done before. And that usually helps me when I'm like focusing on something, which is why I've used this paper plenty of times. I think at least for the last, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 cards I've worked on, maybe more than that. I have definitely used this paper over and over and over again. And it is a palette paper. It's got a wax coating on it, so it makes it so that the colors can easily be seen and it can be cleaned and reused and blah, 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 blah. But eventually it gets so to a point of where I just have to replace the paper. So, but I am going to stick with it. It's nice. I like it. It has all the colors I want to reference, so I'm just going to go ahead and use it. Not really changing that up. I'm just going to put a dab of red on there. We're going to make the brown first, so we got to use all the colors to start off with. I do got to admit, it was funny because I wasn't originally thinking that I was going to be able to have the chance to do a stream today. Because normally I've been kind of on this schedule where I do about 2 streams each week, and I'm usually pretty busy on the days that I'm not streaming. And obviously, like, I have 3 days that I work my regular job, and then I try to do 2 stream days, and then I have 2 days where I have one day for sure where I'm like kind of relaxing and not really doing very much, but then I have a day where I'm like doing all my chores and all that. And I managed to actually do a whole bunch of chores on my day off. So I kind of just had this day free. I still have a few things I need to do on the side, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a bonus stream today. I'm going to do a third stream, unlike what I normally do. Hey, Wrath of Wood! Thank you for joining. Glad to have you in here. I'm going to be trying to finish this painting up, the Christopher Rush painting. I know I'm going to get it done. I'm not 100% sure how long it's going to take. But yeah, so like I said, I was kind of glad. I do actually, like, I do strive for the goal of streaming all the days that I have available to me, and like I have been a lot more comfortable with. Oh yeah, my blue is almost gone. Really got to tap it out here. Trying to get every last teeny tiny itty bitty amount of paint out. Yeah, it is kind of like a bonus round, Wrath of Wood. Oh, okay, there we go. I mean, that's more than I asked for, but it's fine. I'll take it. This paint is at its very end, so it's okay if it just kind of explodes all over the place. The yellow is just the same. Like I said, I don't like to waste paint. I try to use all of it. But see, I just showed you that I'm tapping down the blue and I'm tapping down the yellow to kind of get the very last of it. But check it out. I have 2 brand new things of paint here. So we'll be getting into those once I know for sure that the paint that I have available to me currently is completely all gone. But yeah, anyways, yeah, this is kind of like a bonus stream for this week. And I do have the goal of trying to do, like, I want to be, because I have 4 days where I'm not working my regular job. And I do strive to try to stream all 4 of those days, but I just can't really get away with it at this point. But I can guarantee on a regular basis that I can stream 2 days out of the week. And then we can every once in a while do something like this where I do a bonus day because I was able to kind of get all the other stuff done on my day off. So, where I'm usually purposely doing nothing. Just to relax, you know. Like, I gotta work that grind, but I also have to have at least one day off where I can just kind of hang out and do nothing. I do have to say, though, too, I was playing... I've been playing Minecraft nonstop, as you guys can clearly tell with the last 2 streams I've done. I've done a lot of Minecraft, and I can't stop playing it. It's ridiculous. I am so deeply obsessed with playing Minecraft right now. The server that I'm on is just, it's got me hooked. And, you know, it's really funny because I was having that first stream I did this week where I was really upset. A whole bunch of bad things happened during the stream, during my Minecraft session. And I was like, I'm just going to go back to the vanilla Minecraft. But the thing is that I realized too, is that when I was playing the vanilla Minecraft server, I was playing, you know, primarily for streams. I wasn't playing it on a regular basis all the time. But because I'm playing in this crazy modded server that has all sorts of crazy stuff happening in it, I'm playing like every single day, like even when I'm not streaming. So, I mean, I don't think, I mean, I could probably go back to, where did I put my paintbrush? I put my paintbrush down, I don't know where I put it. I do this to myself all the time. Oh, there it is. Okay, I found it. We're good. But yeah, I mean, this modded server has given me so much stuff to do in Minecraft that I just keep obsessively playing it. And I mean, I'm like doing things where I'm playing like till like 3 a.m. in the morning. It's ridiculous. And I don't know if I can really maintain that. That's probably not the best possible thing I should be doing. But, oh man, I love it. Like, I was having so much fun when I was playing Minecraft on stream yesterday. And I played it a little bit today, too. I was playing it for a few hours early in the morning. Like, I got up and I was like, it's time to Minecraft! Ah! And then I also did a few extra chores on the side, too. I have some more chores I have to do. But I just, you know, stopped playing Minecraft in the morning this morning. And I was like, I really want to stream. Like, I know I wasn't originally going to stream today, but I just had that itch to do it. And so here I am in front of you guys. And I kind of threw it together at the last possible second because I was feeling that itch all day since I got up this morning, but I also was just like, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I want to do it. Like normally I only do 2 a week. Like, but I just was like, no, no, no. Like, I want to do this. Like, I really, really want to stream. I gotta do this. Like, this is what I want to do. And so here we are. Ratherwood says, I found a way to run Minecraft with mods that I picked out for single player. Well, awesome, Ratherwood. Are you getting into Minecraft again? Because it seems like whenever I do the Minecraft streams and you come in, you have all this great advice and you want to talk about it. And I can tell you're pretty into it. Like, it's obvious to me that you're pretty into it. So I am really excited to hear that you are getting back into it and finding all the mods to play with. What I suggest is get into the Feed the Beast mod pack. It's amazing. That's what me and Mike Hatcher and Cinder Shadow are playing, is the Feed the Beast mod pack. And oh my god, it is so fun. I just recently, like, I decided, I was talking about it on stream, in Mike Hatcher's stream last night, that I really wanted to get into Minecraft cooking. Because I love cooking in real life, so I love cooking in Minecraft life too, and I got to do all the cooking. And by the way, guys, I swear that I will be doing more cooking streams. The reason why, like, there's a few different reasons why I haven't gotten super into it. The main reason why I haven't done a lot of cooking on stream is because, so my job, my job, as many of you probably already know, I cook all the time. Like, I mean, I cook, well, I mean, all the time. I cook 3 days a week as a job. And then I, cook for myself at home and stuff like that when I really need to. Sometimes I try to be really lazy and, not cook on, every day. But, I'm going to put this palette over here and we're going to start laying down this brown color. I think it's the right color. Yeah, it looks fine. Okay. So I just kind of like wiped it on my palette a little bit really thinly so that I could kind of see it a little better, make sure the color was right. And it looks good. So I'm actually going to lay this brown down over here to see what kind of effect it has, because the brown, the green I was using previously kind of bled through a little bit and it looked kind of weird. So I'm going to kind of like lay a layer of brown, hopefully pretty thin, over what we've already done for the tree trunk. And hopefully it'll look a little bit nicer and less bleedy. But anyways, so I was talking about cooking, and the reason why I have not gotten super into cooking on stream and why I've, not been doing it recently is I cook so often every week. I have to cook all the time. And I literally get paid at my job to like cook like 3 days a week, and I get so exhausted from cooking, and I just I don't necessarily want to do it every single day, including my days off, because I'm cooking so much that I just don't necessarily feel like I really want to do it all the time. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to do it on stream. Like, I do have some things I do want to cook on stream, and I do kind of want to get more into that. But it's very, it's kind of like the idea of, like, here's an example. Before I was a cook, I used to wash dishes all the time. Like, I used to have a whole bunch of different dishwashing jobs, and in restaurants mostly. And because I had to wash dishes so often, I really disliked washing dishes at home. Like, I mean, I did it, like I would do it because obviously that's disgusting if, you're not washing your dishes at home. But it was just really like, like, I don't want to do this. I'm not enjoying it. Like, blah, 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 blah. But, like, I'm worried that that's a part of it too, is that if I cook a lot on stream, I'm less likely to enjoy it. And if I'm not enjoying it, then I feel like that it's not going to be very good content and you guys are not going to enjoy it. So, I mean, I will still be able to enjoy cooking when I do it on stream, but it's just I don't want to do it super often because I'm worried that it'll make me not enjoy it and make it less entertaining. Um, but I do still want to do it. Like, I will, I do have some ideas for some stuff I want to do for cooking. And another major problem of why I have not been doing it that much as well is because when I'm cooking, I it's hard for me to cook for only myself. Like for example, the very first cooking stream I did, um, I ended up eating two people's worth of food, and that's cool and all. Like I was definitely hungry, and I was able to eat it all, and all that. But usually, like I like to kind of, if I'm making that much food, I'm going to want somebody to kind of enjoy it alongside with me and eat with me, which is why I ended up doing, when I did the next stream after that for cooking, I had my friend come over and I cooked for her. So, that made it much easier, and it made it so I didn't, have tons and tons of food everywhere that I had to, worry about and, eat all by myself. And I mean, yeah, I guess I could go the route of making it into being leftovers, but it's just that I kind of prefer having like another person in the stream with me eating the food. So, we'll see. I definitely want to do more cooking streams, but another part of it too is just simply that I don't know what would be really awesome to cook on stream. So that's another thing that kind of makes it a little tough for me to do cooking streams. So we'll see. We'll see. I do want to do it. I do want it to make a regular, like I do want it to be a thing that I do here and there on my channel. But I just haven't been super into the idea of getting into cooking on a regular basis. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. So Wrath of Wood says, I've played Feed the Beast. It's fine. It's missing the Dark Craft mod. Sorry, I mean Evil Craft with dark gems and blood chests for healing items. Okay. I mean, I know very little about pretty much any kind of mod on Minecraft. Like, I mean, the current stuff I'm doing on my game with like Mike Hatcher and everybody is kind of like the bare minimum of what I have experienced with mods. So, and I mean, I'm really getting into it. Like, I mean, I'm doing all sorts of really fun things that I'm enjoying. Like, I'm actually really, I've only just barely scratched the surface on it, but I'm really enjoying the cooking mod. Um, because, like, one of the things that was really irritating me about in the game was, I mean, and it's nice because, so there are berry bushes in the game, and the berry bushes rapidly make food, like little berries that you can eat, and they make them so fast. But the thing that really is annoying about the berries is that they only heal half a meat, half of a a meat on the thing, so that so it's, even though they grow really quick, and you can get a whole bunch of them and eat a whole bunch of them all very quickly, they don't heal you very fast, and you kind of have to like sit there and like munch through a stack of them to like get your hunger level back to being satiated, and it takes a lot of time, and it's really annoying. And like, you don't the longer it takes to fill up your meats, like the longer it's going to take you for you to start gaining back hearts as well, your health and all that. um and the thing that sucks is that sometimes what will happen is I'll be like fighting something, and like my health will go down, and I need to like eat something very quickly so I can start gaining my health back so that I can get back into fighting whatever it is I'm fighting. And so what I started doing is I started experimenting with the this brown is really nice, by the way. I'm really like, you guys can't see it because the painting is off camera, and I apologize. But I like the effect that this brown has. It's kind of adding this darker shade, but it's not mending, it's blending with the light brown color. So it looks a lot more like woody. Like it has more of a realistic wood effect. You can really see it on this portion right here, which is looking really nice. Um, but anyways, what I was saying is that I've been making these really complicated food recipes, but they're awesome. Cause like I'll make like, there's some foods that I've gotten figured out where they're sort of complicated. They require like 4 or 5 ingredients to make them, and some of the ingredients also require being made from other ingredients in the process. But the thing that's really nice is that like I make these foods and I'll make like 6 or 7 of these complicated foods, and you eat one, and like they regenerate like 3 or 4 meats at a time, which is awesome because I can eat like two, which takes the same amount of time as if I would eat one berry, which would only regenerate one half of a meat. So it would take me less time, gain me more meats more quickly, and then I would be satiated and I would gain my health that much faster. And it's awesome. Like I love it. It's like I was kind of just experimenting. I wasn't even sure if I was going to like it, and I was like, well, maybe this is a whole lot of effort for something that is not going to make that big of a deal. But once I actually started making the more complicated foods and actually started using them like while playing, it's amazing. It's so worth it. It is absolutely so worth the time and effort to like cook properly in the game. Because then you don't have to worry about like regenerating your health, because you can eat one piece of food really quick and then like start regenerating your health like super quickly, and I love it. It's awesome. And like the variety of foods you can make is absolutely cool. Like I like the idea of being like a gourmet chef in the game. It's super fun. um Ratherwood says, the more complicated the recipe, the better the healing and saturation usually. Meat Lover's Pizza is top tier if you have access to it. I will look it up. I didn't know that was an option. There was one that looked really cool that I wanted to make that's called Sunday Roast, I think. And it's this crazy complicated meal. It takes a ton of ingredients to make it. And also, you have to cook multiple different pieces of food in order to create the Sunday roast. Um, and it regenerates 5 meats, and I was like, oh my god, I want to eventually make that and just have like eat one and then sprint away, and be awesome like that. So it's really cool. I really like it. I think it's a cool feature, and it was really funny because I had to like I couldn't ask like Mike Hatcher about how to do it because he didn't have any experience like doing the cooking mods and stuff like that. So he was like, "It's something you're just gonna have to figure out on your own, dude." And I was like, "Okay." So I looked up some tutorials and kind of learned all the stuff. Like, I mean, there's still some things I'm learning, and I'm kind of like messing around with a few different things for the cooking mod. But it's really not that super complicated. Like, I actually really like it. It's so far one of the most interesting mods I've gotten into because I like it because it's not crazy complicated. Like the magic stuff is cool and all that, but it has a very steep learning curve from my personal experience, and I do want to eventually get better at it, but at the same time, like I just don't know 100% like how I'm going to really learn the magic stuff. I mean, it takes a lot of work and a lot of practice, and I've definitely like what's really interesting too about all the magic stuff is that you have to be super careful with it because things go really wrong if you don't do it right. Um, so like for example, I was kind of learning about like warping and stuff like that and how it can cause all these problems because I actually ran into some really nice armor that I wanted to use, but the problem is that the various pieces of armor have warping on them, and it's like temporary in the sense of like it only causes warping when you are wearing it, and then as soon as you take it off, it goes away. Um, which is I mean it seems all right, but I was just like, you know what, I don't even want to mess with it. I'm just not going to mess with all the warping stuff. So I decided just forget it. I won't mess with it right now. I'll figure it out later. But I did also run into like a book that is like a curse book or like a curse magic book or something. And apparently it's Mike warned me about it way before I found it. I only found it recently, and apparently it's like a magic book that teaches you a whole bunch of really interesting magic and stuff like that. but it also causes really serious warping, like permanent warping that you can't get rid of unless you do something special to get rid of it, I guess. Um, but I didn't even bother to open it because I got the impression that the moment you open it and start reading it, it's going to cause you a bunch of problems. So I was like, you know what? I'll just throw you in a chest and I'll worry about you later. And maybe I'll ask Mike about it later and see if he has any uses for it or if he has any advice for me using it at all. So we'll see. Um, but like I said, the cooking mod rocks. I love it. It's so far been like the most interesting mod that I've kind of dived into, and I really am enjoying it. It just proves further I'm a cook at heart. You know, I'm a cook at heart. Even in a video game, I still love cooking. But and I mean, I feel like that also proves that I could probably get more into cooking for streaming as well. I mean, you know, it's I just gotta be comfortable with it and learn to enjoy it a little better. Um, I'll definitely look up the pizza thing. I didn't even know that pizzas were available. The only way I was able to find out about the different foods that I did find out about was because I like went online to the wiki for Feed the Beast and just kind of looked up all the stuff for all the food mod, and I just started rolling through the various different things you can cook, and I basically like made an effort to find things that were easy to start with. So that's kind of how I got into it. And the things that you start with are actually pretty good anyways. So I'm going to lay down some black on my palette. I'm not going to do it on camera because it's just black. I'm not doing anything special with it. So just trust me when I say all I'm doing is opening up my tube and throwing a blotch of black onto my palette. I kind of made a small mess here. Kind of got some black paint on my fingers here. Hold on a sec. I don't need a lot of it, so give me just a second. I'm going to throw this away because it's all messy and it's all over my hand. Give me just a second. I have a garbage can right over here, so I can just kind of throw this away and I don't have to worry too much about it. But yeah, I'm really excited to get this painting done. I actually really like I do want to talk about the paint a little bit. I do like the effect that the brown that I made has on the rest of this, because I'm kind of blending it in, as you guys can see with the rest of the previous brown we did. And it's got this nice wood flavor. It's got this nice wood appearance to it that I really enjoy. So I'm just going to kind of get into this black a little bit. We're going to get very light with it. Just kind of to shade, you know? So when I do that, I kind of just try to be very light with the black. I don't want it to be super dark. I just want it to kind of layer over it for a few different purposes. And let's see how that affects. Oh, that looks good. Okay, cool. So right away I kind of like added in some black. I did it very, very lightly for the purpose of kind of shading this particular area in the back over here a little darker. And that just kind of gives it so that it looks like it's shaded darker the further back you go from the foreground. Basically in the background, pretty much. So yeah, I just want to kind of just darken this area a little bit with this very light black that I'm using. And it'll add like a nice effect to pretty much a bunch of different spots on this particular painting. Like I'm going to add some over here on this side. And I got to flip it around just so I can see it from my perspective a little bit better. So I'm just going to kind of very lightly add in this black. And I'm kind of putting it up over here just so it's kind of darker up closer to the top of this tree. And like I said, it's just a shading effect. It's not, you know, you don't want to hit this with a pitch, like a dark pitch black. You want to, you know, just kind of have it very, very light, and you're just darkening the other shades of the paint so that it blends nicer. So that's pretty much all that is. And I am also going to put some down here, probably closer to the roots, just to kind of shade this lighter, this kind of, you know, olivish green color down a bit so that it's a little darker. Hi, T-Love T. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in and hanging out. Just working on this painting. I'm really trying to finish this up. I have put this particular painting off for some time, and I kind of decided, I was like, I really want to get this painting done. So that's what we're focused on today, is just kind of getting this nice and done. And we're talking about a few different things. I was just talking about Minecraft a little bit, because I've been playing it so obsessively. Trying to see what kind of effect this has on this tree root. And, oh, that looks nice. Okay, cool. I had to look into the camera to make sure that it looked alright, and it looks nice. I think it looks really good. It's adding a nice effect to the brown. So I'm just going to keep doing that. And like I said, it's all about shading. That's all it is. I'll also put it around on this side over here to kind of darken this particular area. It looks like we need a little bit more, just a little bit. I do think that the next time I do some painting, I'll probably pick something a little more complicated. I don't really know what I want to do in the next one. I know I've been picking a lot of landscapes and kind of working on landscapes because those are my favorite. A lot of the time I love to do the landscapes in particular because I get to paint the entire thing, which is obviously what I've done here with this guy. And, but I have some really cool ideas that I really want to do for painting. I want to do... There's a couple cards that I set aside. They're off here on the side where I'm sitting right now that I really want to paint. And one of the things that I want to do is I have this really interesting idea of having... It's basically a collage of cards. So it would be basically a few different cards that are all painted. They're all different cards and they're all painted. But when you put them all together, the artwork all meshes. So, and that's something I really, really want to do, and I do have some cards set aside that I want to do that with in particular. Simply because the cards that I set aside actually have a particular theme that they share, and I actually set them aside specifically for doing that. And so I do want to do that. I do want to... I've seen other artists that paint magic cards do something similar to that. And I've always been really impressed by it, but I've never actually tried to do it. And I thought it would be really cool to actually test that out and do a thing where it's a single painting spread across like multiple cards. I have one that I want to do, but the card that I want to do it with is kind of expensive. I think it's like a $12 card. Because it's part of like a combo, like a modern combo or something, so everybody tries to get their hands on it, and it's like a $12 card. But I might try to get my hands on it. We'll definitely see. But oh, I like how this black is spreading. It's actually really nice. But I have this one that I want to do that's three different cards. One of them is kind of expensive, and they would all the artwork would like mesh into it, and in across the three cards. The other one I want to do is actually 5 cards. It's 5 cards, and I actually own all 5 of the cards, and that's how I came up with them. And the thing is that all 5 of the cards that I want to like do as a single panoramic painting is they're all part of a 5-card cycle. So like they're all basically very similar to each other in the sense that they're all mechanically the same, and the artwork they're all vastly different because they all are in... It's a cool cycle of cards where all the creatures are like the creatures are presented in landscapes that they don't belong in. And the idea is that like so like for example, one creature, like imagine it like this is the best. I'm trying not to spoil it because I want to surprise you guys with it, but imagine it like this. So it would be like a black creature invading a blue territory, and then you would have a blue creature invading a red territory, and then like a white creature invading a green territory, and things like that. So like within the world that the cards are painted into, they're basically all creatures from one territory, but they're invading the opposite territories they come from. And I thought it was so cool that I thought it would be really awesome if I could mesh all the paintings so that all the landscapes are basically meshed into each other, and you would have the opposing creatures like kind of juxtapose amongst one another across the panoramic view. It was just a cool idea I had, and I thought since they were all part of a cycle and all of the territories that they're part of kind of mesh into each other, based on the artwork that they previously had, I thought that would be really interesting and fun to do. Um, so that's something I want to do, but the thing is, too, is that that's 5 cards, 5 of them, all part of a cycle, so it would be really kind of complicated. It would probably take a whole bunch of different streams to do, because obviously it takes me like 2 to 3 streams to do one single painting. And so, I mean, I would have to kind of... it would probably be a thing where I would be doing it for probably a couple of months, with a selection of streams for painting. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's something that I've kept in the back of my mind. Like, no joke, the cards that I'm talking about are literally sitting right here in front of me. Like, I can literally, like, lift up my palette and see them sitting in front of me because it's something I've been planning for a while. But it's just I haven't done it because it's so complicated to set up and do. But eventually, I will probably do that. But I might also like start with the one where I was talking about how it was like 3 cards. I think that might be a little easier to begin with. I'm still adding in this black as a shade. I'm kind of like there are certain parts where I'm kind of laying it on thick, and then certain areas where I'm laying it on really thin. So, and that helps with some of the details. It kind of gives it more of like a, it looks like as if like there's branches everywhere, there's root systems everywhere. They're all kind of like meshed into one another. So, that's kind of what I'm trying to do with this piece. And I think I just kind of have to fill in this middle area, and then what we'll do is we'll work on a green color, and we'll kind of add in like blades of grass, maybe some shrubs and things like that to make it look a little bit nicer. And then honestly, that might actually, like at that point, it might be over, but it just depends. I don't know how long it's going to take me to actually work on all this. We've actually got most of it done in the first place, so... I remember the last time I did the stream for this particular painting, I was kind of disappointed that I didn't finish it because I felt like I was so close. But, that's fine because I get to kind of hang out and work on it a little more comfortably so that it's not, like I'm not in any kind of rush or anything like that, and I didn't want to rush it the last time I was working on it. So that's kind of how it's come together at this point. So as you can see, I kind of like swiped the paint very lightly across this area. That makes it look more grass-like, It makes it look like the grass is kind of shaded in certain areas. It's rough over here and it's light over here. Gives it a more realistic touch, honestly. Ratherwood says, my guess is it's something Phyrexian, maybe Praetors, maybe Exarchs. No, it's not. It's not Phyrexian at all. Nice try, though. I know you know that I'm a Phyrexian fanboy, so I am more likely to do something from Phyrexia. But no, it is not Phyrexian at all. But it's really cool. It's really cool. I remember thinking a long time ago when I actually was playing with these cards, I actually thought the cycle was really awesome. I really liked the art, and I thought the overall idea of what it was really cool. But no, it is not. It is definitely not Phyrexian. I should do some Phyrexian cards. I've done some Phyrexian concept art, because there is actually a card that I have been wanting to paint in a Phyrexian style. Actually, I've been trying to figure out how to do it before I even ever started streaming my paintings. It was something I wanted to do a long time ago when I first started getting into doing, painting altars and stuff like that. And the problem is that I've actually done multiple different kinds of sketches for it. And no matter how I do it, it never looks right to me. And basically, so I'll just go ahead and say what it is. So what I've wanted to do is I've wanted to take a skull clamp like the classic dark steel skull clamp, and I want to paint it Phyrexianized so that it's like it looks more brutal and nasty and like dangerous and like Phyrexian and gross and all that. Because in my imagination, I have personally always believed that the skull clamp is a very Phyrexian oriented artifact. It just feels, it bleeds Phyrexian, you know, because it's the whole genius of it is that it's killing off creatures in order to gain knowledge, you know? And I always wanted to find a way to make the art represent that concept from a Phyrexian point of view. And I actually have done, I think, like 3 different sketches that all look very different from one another. Where one of them is literally like a clamp across the entire head, like literally like an iron mask, you know, where it's like completely engulfing the creature's face. And then I did another one where it was like a pronged helmet with like screws being driven into it. Um, and the other one I did was like more of like an electrical helmet with like wires coming out of it and stuff like that. But like all 3 of those sketches, they didn't feel right. Like I finished them and I like looked at them a few different times and I'm like, it doesn't feel right. You know, it doesn't look quite how I want it to look. So I just never actually painted them. But I do want to do that eventually. I just have to get the artwork just right in order to get it to be what I want it to be. So let me kind of explain something here that I'm working on. So I've kind of I've fleshed out these roots a lot better, so they look a little bit nicer. I might have to tone down this particular area right here simply because the artwork, I've talked about it in the past, is very faded, and you kind of have to like overcompensate with like various different effects to kind of fade out the color. So we're probably going to be needing a teeny itty bitty tiny amount of white that we can shade across these roots so it's not so dark. So I probably will have to do that. The other thing I need to do is I'm going to probably pull out my phthalo green paint in order to start adding like little tiny shrubs and things like that. We might have to like change the coloration on it, maybe fade it out and darken it a little bit. Um, but we'll definitely see. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to go about it, but I want to get the white started first. I think that's probably the best way to go about it to start with. Ratherwood says a crazy Geiger style skull clamp would be cool. It would be kind of neat. I've actually seen um, uh, altars of skull clamp that were really, really cool. There's one skull clamp that I saw was basically like the entire card was altered to look like a giant metal plate with a mechanical face in the middle that's like shaped and painted like a skull, which I thought was really cool looking. And the other one was, which is in my opinion my favorite. My favorite of the skull clamps was the guy who painted it made it look, so what he did was he based it off of the Alien movies. He kind of based the art style off of the Alien movies, and he had like a lady who was wearing like a spacesuit, and she was holding like the alien skull, and the alien skull had this crazy like metal plated helmet all over the entire skull, and she was like looking at it, and it looked so brutal and gnarly and alien. It was so freaky, and I loved it. I think that's probably my favorite art that I've seen of Skull Clamp, and I kind of want to do something like that. I just don't want it to be alien themed, you know? That would be really cool. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to bring in, well, actually, it's just white. I'm not going to really do much to the white, so I guess I don't really need to show you guys that. It's just me putting white paint on my palette. Nothing too fancy. When I actually mix some colors, I will definitely show you guys. But I'm just going to tap down my white and kind of throw in a little blotch here. Just like that. It's not very much. I promise you I didn't put very much white paint on here at all because I try really hard not to waste my white paint because I use it a lot. So, not much white paint here. I'm going to wet my brush, and then I'm going to kind of put it very light on my brush, and then I'm going to kind of very carefully swipe it across the darker colors to kind of fade them out a little bit. So we'll see how it works out. Eventually, though, I will figure out how to get that skull clamp art, because I really want to do that. Like, I've always, like I said, like, painting a skull clamp to look more brutal in Phyrexian has been something that I've been kind of, like, planning since, like, my early days of doing, like, card altering and stuff like that. So I do actually want to get that figured out at some point. I just don't really know how to go about it. Oh, that looks so much better. Just light swipes, that's all it is, just light swipes. Very, very light. Not too heavy on the white. And also just kind of like placing it on some of the lower roots as well, kind of like fades it out a little bit. Blends it a lot nicer. Just like so. It kind of looks a little misty, which is how I like it. And that's the thing I like about a lot of these paintings too, is that like they really play with like a misty effect, and I really like that appearance, honestly. I like it when it looks all misty. Kind of looks like creepy a little bit and a little mysterious, you know? Like actually romping through a misty forest and things like that, which is really funny. There we go, nice and light. And the thing is, too, is like the other colors will bleed through this white, which is what I want them to do. I don't want this white to be too prominent. So as the white dries, it'll fade out even more, and the other colors that I placed on it previously will probably show up a lot better. It'll look a lot more clear. I'm going to put this white in a few different spots, not just the tree roots. I did want to focus on the tree roots, but it's not the only spot. So we're going to kind of put some over here, just to kind of blend this branch a little bit better. Maybe like right there. Definitely up here a little bit. I think I need a little bit more white. There we go. That should probably be an alright amount. And I can just kind of carefully swipe it across here. Let's see. The camera really helps, so I'm going to bring it a little closer. You guys can see what I'm working on. Hey, that looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. I can definitely dig it. I definitely like how this is turning out to be. Yeah. Yeah. It does look a little bit darker in the camera. Might need... I might lay some brown over it. Just a little, an itty bitty tiny amount. And we'll see what kind of effect that has on it. And I know that I can always change it if I need to. It's not that big of a deal if you accidentally make a little teeny tiny mistake. So let me just kind of add that in just a little bit. Yeah, that does look better. Okay. Nice and light, especially right over here. Yeah, maybe right there as well. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe just a little bit more. I really do kind of like to try to get the colors to blend as best as possible, so... Yeah, that does look a little bit better. And I'm not going to put it all over the place. I'm just going to put it in certain places. I'm going to kind of sparse out the white a little bit, have it mixing in with the brown in certain areas, so it kind of looks like that it's meshing a little bit nicer. Yeah, that does look a little bit better. It really does. Okay. And I am going to still add more white. I do need more white. Particularly over here is one of my concerns, as well as over here. So that way it'll kind of like look a little bit more misty and blended in. So I'm going to grab some more white, just like this, which you can't see. I say just like this so that you guys can know I'm doing something, even though you can't clearly see what I'm doing. Because that's how I roll. I'm doing the thing! I swear, I'm doing the thing! Okay, hey, that looks good. I like that. I really wish it would focus a little bit better so you guys can see all the crazy shenanigans I got going on here. Yeah. Hope I'm not making you guys all barfy by moving it in and out like that. Let's see, maybe if I can kind of... Hey, that's a little bit better. Let me kind of zoom out just a little bit. This is the area I was working on, and I can already see that it's blending in a lot nicer, which is exactly what I wanted. That was the goal. So, hooray! Um, but yeah, I definitely want to do more painting. It's just yesterday, like, cause I was talking about it a little bit yesterday, right before I started when I started my Minecraft stream. Um, I was originally planning to paint that day. Like that was actually my original intention, and like I just wasn't feeling it. And like I kind of want to make sure that when I go and I do a stream, I want to be comfortable with what I'm doing, and like I wasn't feeling it. It didn't feel right. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna paint today. I'm gonna do something else because I know that I want to stream. Like I was like, I know I want to stream. I just don't know what I want to stream, and I know I don't want to do painting. And I was just like thinking, I was like, okay, well, do I want to paint? No, I'm not feeling it. I'm definitely not feeling cooking. Do I want to play the paradox game? And I was like, no, like I'm not really feeling that either. And then I was like, Minecraft. I want to play Minecraft. I want to stream Minecraft. This is what I want to do. Um, but today I was like, I want to stream and I want to paint. And like I knew that I wanted to paint. Like I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I was just feeling that painting itch. It had been some time since I had last painted, and I just knew that this is specifically what I really wanted to do. So that's kind of like the kind of way that I'm trying to do these streams is I kind of try to ask myself like, how am I feeling today? What do I want to do? What do I prefer to do? Because my overall mentality of it is that if I'm not enjoying it and I'm not feeling it, I don't think you guys are going to enjoy it very much. It's kind of like you like putting your all into it, and then people can recognize when you want to do it. And that's why, like I said, here I am doing this because I knew that I really wanted to paint. Um, so I'm kind of trying to do my content like that a little bit. And like I said, like if I can get away with it, I will try to do like 3 streams or so when I do this kind of stuff. But I can't be sure simply because it's tough. It's my schedule is a little wacky, and I'm never for sure gonna know whether or not I'm going to be able to do a stream. So I mean, I feel like I've been doing pretty good at keeping up with doing 2 streams each week, which feels nice. But I do want to up my ability of doing those things. It just means that if I'm going to do that, I need to have the time. I need to have the days available to me, and sometimes that's just not the case. Like it's just not that way right now. Because I do have to be concerned about what's going on in my life, and all the stuff that I'm doing involved with work. Because I still do need to pay my bills. Like I mean, as much as I would love to be a full-time content creator, like legitimately, I think that would be really cool. I'm really into the idea of getting there at some point. But that's just not my current options. That's not what I mean. In the future, it's definitely a likely possibility. But right now, I have to keep the lights on and keep the heat going, and have to pay my bills. So I'm just keeping my regular job and working my butt off on it. And on all my days off, that's when I want to stream, and that's when I want to hang out with you guys because that's what I enjoy. Um, and right now I'm comfortable with it. Like I am actually pretty comfortable with this current pace and the content that I'm making and how I'm working on it. And I do plan to improve further. I have been kind of looking into some equipment upgrades, which I'm looking into. Um, and those, the upgrades I'm interested in might take some time, but I think that those are a likely possibility to happen pretty soon. I kind of want to get another camera upgrade. My main focus is that I want to upgrade my microphone. This guy right here, he's not really gonna cut it, because I actually prefer to use my headset that I've been using when I do gaming, that thing has an awesome microphone, and I love using that for doing my video game streams. But when I'm doing these painting streams, I need something that is a little more like a real microphone. So that's something that I'm very seriously planning on upgrading very very soon. I just don't have the ability to do it at the moment. It will happen. I promise you guys it will happen. But it's just going to take some time. But I mean, I am looking forward to it. I've looked at a few different options for some nice microphones. I am starting to look into a few more different kinds of cameras as well. Um, so we'll see. We'll see. It's just something I'm keeping in mind and working on. Because I want to be able to produce good content for you guys to enjoy. Coming in and hanging out in these awesome streams, and I do have some ideas for some videos that I want to do. I will admit I haven't made as much progress on the actual video content as I would like. It's something that I'm kind of like, I'm having a real struggle learning how to edit stuff. I'm experimenting and trying to teach myself some things, but I'm just not as savvy with it, and I can tell that it's just going to have to take some time before I get a little more accustomed to it and start producing really nice quality things. So, working on it, I promise. Because I want this channel to be awesome. I want this to be something. I want everybody that comes in here and hangs out with me to have a great experience and really get a chance to enjoy everything that I want to offer to you guys in the best possible way that I can. And I think that if I can get that ball rolling a bit better, I'll be able to improve just about everything that I work on for my channel. So it's a work in progress. It's just a progressive kind of thing that I just need to constantly be working on and improving on. So that's kind of what I'm up to. Kind of what I'm up to, you know. Um, but yeah, so just kind of, and I do want to do more painting. I really do. Another thing that I'm thinking about doing, I've been kind of debating it, whether in basically in my head, and I am actually kind of curious. I want to hear your guys' feedback of what you guys think, if it's a good idea or not. I have this idea that maybe besides just painting, I might also try doing some live sketching as well, because I actually really enjoy like sketching on like paper and stuff like that. And I thought maybe it might be kind of cool to also do kind of like how I do a painting stream, but instead of actually painting, I would just have pencil and paper and do some sketches, and thought that might be kind of fun to do. So if you guys are curious about that, let me know, because I'm not really 100% sure how I personally feel about it. I'm worried that it might not be um, as fulfilling content, or as entertaining as say the painting. Because with the painting, I get to talk about all the mixing I'm doing and all the various different techniques I have for doing painting. And I don't know how well that would particularly translate over with like sketching with pencil and stuff like that, which is primarily what I do. Sometimes I do charcoal, but that's very rare because I don't really have a lot of charcoal available to me. But I like to change it up here and there and kind of do different things with that. So let me know. Let me know if you guys are interested in that. I would like to hear it. Another thing too is I have to get on canvas painting. That's something I really. Ratherwood says he wouldn't mind a sketchy stream. That might be kind of fun. That sounds pretty cool, actually. But thank you, Ratherwood, for your input. Um, Another thing is I need to get into canvas. I promised somebody that I would do a canvas painting for them. And the thing is that they're very understanding, and they're okay with the fact it's been crazy and hectic, and I have not been able to do it. But they've been very patient with me, and they said go about it at your own time, which is awesome. But I really need to get into that. I need to kind of get my canvases out, get my paints going, and just really, really dive into the canvas art. Because that's something I really want to do, and I just have not really spent enough time working on it. And that is basically something that I do plan to have as a regular thing on my channel as well. So, but I need to actually really get into it and actually really work on it. This is getting pretty nice. I kind of like all the faded white effect that it has. I'm going to add just a little bit more white, and then we'll work on kind of like a darker green color just to kind of add in some like grass and stuff like that, and little shrubs or whatever. So I'm just going to kind of fill in a little bit more white, just a little bit. And I'll start it kind of low so that way it doesn't get too crazy. And then this particular way that I do it, I just kind of like do it in sets of streaks up. And I don't actually like, I don't do like a flat line. I kind of just kind of do it in streaks very quickly on the way up. So it kind of looks like a mist rolling up through the rest of the grassland. And I actually do think it looks pretty nice. Ratherwood says, your detail on canvas will be amazing if you're used to painting on a small card. I've had people tell me that. Most people actually get really surprised when I show them that the cards are the size that they are and how I work on them and such. So I think that working on canvas will be an experience where I can kind of add a lot more to the artwork, as well as really add the tiny details and really work on them very, very hard. And really make them show and stand out. And what's really interesting is I have also been kind of like studying different kinds of artwork as well, to help teach myself how to do that kind of stuff. Because artwork on canvas it's really interesting. A lot of the artwork on canvas that I've studied does they work in details very roughly. And it's very interesting to see because they do, it's kind of like the idea of like when you focus in, like if I were to, for example, take a canvas painting that I've seen, like a piece of art that I've seen, and I look at a section that is approximately the size of this card, the details are extremely, extremely rough. But then when you look at it from a distance, it all comes together and you see objects and people and animals and, you know, forestry and things like that. And I really like the idea of being able to trying to work with more detail through vague, larger strokes. And I think that that's something that I'm really interested in trying out. And the only way I can try it out is if I deeply get into canvas painting. So that's something that I need to definitely work on. And I am very interested in it. So, you know, it will come together eventually. It's just I just don't know exactly how I'm going to start into it. And I mean, a lot of the time too, it's just you just do it. You know, you just got to do it. And I just haven't been able to get that mindset yet of just doing it for canvas in particular. It's got to feel right to me, and usually I will force myself and I will jump into it. But I also just want to make sure that I'm comfortable with, you know, working in a new medium for artwork and really just, you know, a lot more comfortable with what's going on with my artwork and my painting supplies and the canvas and all that stuff. And I just don't have enough experience, and I need to give myself that experience. But I guess it's also true that, you know, you can't get the experience unless you actually do it. So, you know, we'll see. Kind of trying to get a better view on this piece now that I've kind of added in all this white. I think I'm feeling a lot better for the green, and then we'll see where we go from there. I'm kind of studying it to see where I should go. Ratherwood says, one day the spark will hit you. Always, dude. I'm going to planeswalk away into an artwork universe. Yeah. I know it's going to hit me, and it'll feel right, and it'll all come together. I just don't want to put it off forever either, you know, because sometimes, like, I have definitely learned that sometimes I have to really push myself, even if, like, I'm unsure and it doesn't feel quite right to start with. Sometimes just pushing myself to do it really makes it all come together, and that's what I truly, truly want. I'm going to set up my phthalo green. It's just this fancy tube of paint. I'm going to just kind of start with it raw, like the raw color as it is, and then we'll see where we go from there. I'm not sure if it's going to work on its own by itself, but I want to experiment with this one particular color to start with, and then I'll see if I need to change it. This Phthalo Green, it's my favorite. I've talked about it so many times. I want to say I've probably mentioned it or talked about it at least almost every stream. But it's definitely my favorite color to work with while painting, because it really gets me those nice greens, and the real thing about it is it gets me those really nice blues as well, which are very hard to do. The blue can be sometimes a pain in the ass, because the blue that I usually use doesn't blend well when you're working with like water and things like that. So we'll see. But this green, it's nice. I'm going to try experimenting with it. We'll start out really light, and we'll see where we go. I'm just going to kind of add like a couple of very small streaks, and we'll see where we go. So I did like a teeny tiny thing there. You could barely see it, and I wanted it that way on purpose. Seems all right. It seems all right. I think that if I kind of blend it in a few different areas over here, it'll look nicer, because this particular artwork actually has like a natural phthalo green color to it. So that's going to make it even easier to blend it with the rest. So that's kind of what I'm banking on here when I work on this. So I am just kind of spreading it around, not trying to do anything too fancy with it. I'm just kind of trying to get a feel for how it blends with the other colors, which is the main concern I have. So I'm kind of laying it over the white, which is also looking relatively nice. There we go. Maybe up over here a little bit as well. I'm just trying to get an understanding of what kind of effect this color has on the painting. Maybe a little bit up over here, it looks like. There we go. Yeah. Huh. I'm not sure about it. I'm really not sure. I have a thought that maybe I'll mix yellow, but I'm not sure what kind of color that will get me. Let's see. Let me bring it down close again. Like I said, this camera is really nice when it focuses the way that I need it to, because it definitely gives me another perspective that I so desperately need when I'm working on this kind of stuff. You know what's kind of nice is it actually has like a mossy appearance, which I actually really like. Which means that I kind of want to experiment with it on the brown a little bit. Just a little bit. It's specifically the mossy effect that looks really nice. And I wasn't expecting that. That wasn't actually intentional. I wasn't like, oh, this will give me a mossy effect. I kind of like laid it down and was like, okay, well, how does this look? And I realized that it kind of has this sort of mossy appearance. And I think I really like that. Yeah. Maybe some over here, too. It looks really good against the brown and the black, actually. Like, really, really good. So I'm also going to lay some up over here. Yeah, I like that. I really like how it blends with the brown, actually. That's my favorite so far. I think that if I'm going to lay it up over on this area, though, I am going to have to probably add, like, a yellow. But up against the brown, it looks really good. Like I said, it kind of has this like mossy effect against the brown. It looks like there's moss growing off of the wood, and that's a nice effect. I think it looks good. Yeah, and you don't need to put it everywhere either. Like putting it everywhere is probably going to make a big mess, but kind of adding it in streaks on certain spots looks pretty good. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, maybe a little bit down here as well. Just like that. I'm still not pleased with this. I want to know what I should do with this. We're gonna mix a little bit of yellow in with the phthalo green. So I'm going to let me go ahead and show you guys. I know I haven't shown you guys much of the paint, but I do want to mix a color here, so I'm going to kind of show you guys the kind of color shenanigans I'm going to try over here. So I have the phthalo green way up here in the corner, which you can't see, but I'm going to bring some right here. Just like that. And I don't need very much of it, so I'm not, using a whole bunch. And then I have a teeny tiny amount of yellow over here on the side. So I'm going to take some of the yellow and I'm just going to mix it right into the green. And we'll see what kind of effect that has. I didn't get all the green off my paintbrush, so give me just a second. And this yellow is almost dead. But then again, there wasn't very much left of it anyways, so that's okay. So I'm kind of mixing in a little bit of yellow. It's still pretty dark. I don't know if I like it being that dark. Maybe I'll add some white too. Yeah, I think I'm going to add white. Let's see here. I'm kind of like trying to go for I don't know, like a more grassy kind of color, I guess. And it looks a little bit better. I think that looks good enough that I can try it out. Let me see how this works. And I mean, if it doesn't look exactly right, we can just come back and change it up again. So I'm going to bring you guys nice and close. And we're just going to kind of, let's see, bring you guys just a little bit closer. There we go. It's not only for your guys' good, it's also for my good. Alright, I'm going to kind of just lay down a layer like that. I don't know. Oh, now I see it. That looks nice. Okay, cool. Alright, well I'm going to do a little bit more. Just like that, just to get a better understanding of what it's doing. Yeah, that looks good. You guys can kind of see it right there. See that right there? And right over here? That looks good. It does actually look like little leaves. Little leaves kind of popping out. So that's good. I think that is actually how I want it to appear. So we're just going to kind of add it in a few different places. I do think I also might add just some like yellow directly on the painting, not mixed with anything. Just to kind of add a little bit of extra color. We can fade it out if it's necessary, but I don't think that will be necessary. So we're just going to kind of add in some little streaks here and there, just little tufts all over the place. Put some right there, maybe a little bit over here, and they're just like little patches of grass is what I'm trying to do, and they don't have to be too heavy in color. They just kind of need to be there, just so you can just kind of see them and you can enjoy them for what they are. And I also want to kind of, like I said I was going to put in some yellow, but I'm also thinking I might add some brown just for like, I kind of wanted to have like this appearance like there's like dried leaves and things like that. So we'll see if I can put that in there and make that work. That would be nice too. And then kind of like that. And then like this over here. Yeah. Oh, that looks nice. I like it. That makes me happy. I get really happy when I get a color like just right, you know? It's something that I really try to, I don't know, it's just, there's something really satisfying where you're like, oh, like I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try it. And then you get it to look exactly like just how you want it to look. And it's just really satisfying, you know? And I really like that feeling. I really like the feeling of getting a good color in. That, you know, seems like it might be kind of tough to accomplish. But I think that this does look pretty good with this grass effect. Add a little bit over here and some over here. There. Okay. Just kind of see if I can get it to focus. It's a bright green, like a happy green. There you go, Ratherwood. Happy little grass. Happy little grass. Bring you guys kind of closer so you guys can see what we just did. Got to try and focus a little bit. Come on. You're going to focus for me? There we go. That's pretty nice. I do have to kind of scrape off this paint a little bit later. For anybody who doesn't know, I usually use a wet toothpick and I just kind of like scrape around the words and things like that so that you can still read what it's saying. So let me go ahead and try a little bit of this yellow. And if I still have some brown left, yep, I do still have a brown a little bit, which is very nice, very nice. So I'm just going to kind of put in some little streaks of brown, just like that. And it's nice when they're kind of curved a little bit too, because it really gives, like, they kind of look like rocks a little bit, some of them look like leaves, and it's just nice and got some little details here and there and such, which is very nice. Very nice indeed. Yeah. I'll add a little bit more. The brown has been really cooperative with me today, actually. Like, sometimes it's kind of a struggle getting a brown to look right, but this brown's been really good. It's been a good brown. Very reliable. And, yeah, just like that. Yeah. Devlin Bowman, I've had good luck cutting the wet toothpick at 45 degrees for a little added precision. Very nice, Devlin. Glad to hear you're into painting too. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I usually, like, wet toothpick is pretty important when you're doing stuff like this because it helps you kind of cut the edges a little bit when you need the words to show through and things like that. So I really prefer it, definitely. I mean, I just use a raw toothpick, and a lot of the time I use the same one over and over again. Sometimes I'll kind of like scratch at it a little bit to try and sharpen it a little bit, but usually I just kind of use the same one. If it's a little sharper, though, it does help a lot. Okay, so we got those little black spots, which are very nice. And now I'm going to add in some yellow. And we're going to kind of just use the yellow the same way we used the brown just now. So I'm going to, my yellow is just barely alive, but I can definitely utilize it, so that's good. So I'm just going to kind of add like that. Yeah, that looks exactly how I wanted it to look. Awesome. Okay, so just kind of adding in these little streaks of yellow. They don't need to be too bright. They do need to show up, but not too bright and not too frequent either. Need a little bit more. There we go. It can be tough to not damage the card even with the toothpick. Yeah, that is very true. I have actually scratched paintings before using a toothpick where it would like actually like scrape off. Like one time I was using the scraper and I scraped off the black of the border off of a card one time. And it was really irritating. I had to like paint over it and stuff like that, which was kind of obnoxious. The other thing too is that sometimes it's really when you accidentally scrape off like something like that, it's really hard to sometimes reapply the paint in just the right way because it'll not cooperate right away because that's what the primer is for. Usually I coat my entire card in a primer and then I paint over the primer that I start with. And so if you scratch off the primer, it can give you a bad time, especially if you're trying to reapply and just use the color that you have available to you. So let's kind of zoom out a little bit and get a really good look at what we got going here. Okay. I think I like what I got here. I think I feel pretty good about this. I don't really feel like I need much more. The yellow helped a ton. I really like how the yellow added in it gives a little bit of contrast to like the brown and the green. And it really stands out very nicely. It definitely looks like spotted grass with like leaves and little rocks and things like that. So I'm feeling pretty darn good about this. You know what I will do is I will bring in my. I'm going to wet my toothpick a bit and kind of like work on some of the details that I want to stand out, like be separate from the painting. Let me zoom you guys in so you guys can see a little bit better because it kind of went out of focus, which is kind of annoying. So there we go. That looks a little bit better. So I'm going to try and get this toothpick going here. And I haven't been soaking it for very long. I probably should have like been soaking it the whole time while we were working on this. But I'm kind of just dipping my finger. I mean, not my finger. I'm dipping my. I have a big old piece of paint on my hand. I don't know how that got there. It's dry paint though, so it's all good. Um, but I am trying to kind of get this toothpick soaking so that we can work on the scratching this out a little bit. And like what Devlin was mentioning, you got to be really light with it. You got to be very careful. You want it to be. The idea is that you want it soaking. You don't want to use a dry toothpick because the dry toothpick will scratch the card. But if you do it just right, you can get it wet enough and soft enough that it will rub the paint off without doing any kind of damage to the card whatsoever. So that's kind of my goal here. Um, so I think this feels about right. So let's see if we can kind of get this going a little bit here. I'm going to kind of just very, very lightly. I kind of just try to get the black part of the words able to be seen. I don't want them touching any paint. Um, and usually you can get like this almost bubbly effect where yeah, well, you don't want it. You don't want it dripping water on your painting, obviously. Like that's not good. Um, but anyways, yeah, you can get like this bubbly effect where if you can get it like the paint to kind of be around the word a little bit or around the letters, I should say, and like there's a little bit of the white of the card that is surrounding the black letters. It really helps a lot, and it actually looks really nice. Um, So I'm kind of just making sure that the black lettering is just not touching the paint. Let's see here. Now that I recall, I don't think I've really done much of the wet toothpick stuff on camera all that often. I usually do it off camera. It's just because it's not always that interesting of a step. But this particular painting, I think, is actually a lot more interesting with it because normally when I do the lands, it's just I usually what I do is I leave the mana symbol in, and there's no words, and that's relatively easy to do, and it doesn't require a lot of careful detailing with the toothpick. You do actually do still want to make sure you detail well with it, but it doesn't require that much work. So I usually do it off camera. But this one in particular is a little bit more complicated because we're using an older land. It has all the words on it rather than just the water symbol or the forest symbol or whatever. So you do want to pay attention to how you are detailing it with the toothpick. Cleanup, it's the most relaxing part for me. Okay, nice, very nice. Yeah, I kind of like it too. Um, I usually prefer I get really relaxed when I'm actually painting. Like I like mixing colors and I like actually painting the card and I get kind of in this zen zone. It's a little different for me obviously when I'm streaming because I'm kind of talking to an audience, but I get really relaxed. I kind of get into this really comfortable state of mind and I just kind of work on it as best as I can and do everything I can to entertain people, but also do a good job and relax. Which is that's one of the things. Like when I first started painting Magic cards, it was the reason why I did it was I needed a relaxing hobby. That's literally why I did it. I needed something. It was during when I picked up painting cards. I was actually really stressed out. I was dealing with a lot of stress in my life, especially with work at that time. And I really needed something to just really force me to relax pretty much. And so I knew that I wanted to get into artwork, and I was watching all sorts of people who were, altering magic cards, and I thought it was so cool. And I was like, well, I have so many magic cards that I don't use for anything. Like, that's just, stuff I can use as artwork for my alterations. So that's why I picked it up, is I needed it to help me relax. And man, oh man, like I said, when I get into painting, it really relaxing. It really soothes me, gets me into a much more comfortable state of mind. Like if I'm really stressed out from like work or whatever, I can just come over and I can start painting something, and I just get really relaxed and comfortable, and I completely forget about whatever I was stressed out about before previously. And that's what it's all about for me, really. And I mean, obviously, now I've turned it into a vector of entertainment for other people. But I still get really relaxed. I really enjoy it. Devlin says, I have a love/stress relationship with painting cards. Have you tried foil peels? No. I have not done any form of foil alteration whatsoever. I have a tutorial on. Well, I have somebody else's tutorial saved on my YouTube account so that I can learn how to alter foils, but I have not actually done it. I don't really know anything about trying to alter foils, other than the little amount that I've seen from YouTube and stuff like that. But I do kind of want to get into it eventually, but right now I feel like it's just a little out there for me. It's a little too complicated, and it's not something I'm really looking to dive into at the moment. And the thing is too is that it's a lot. It seems like it's a lot more work, and I don't know if I can really. It's already a lot of work just to do these regular kinds of alterations. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm really mentally and physically prepared to do a foil alter yet. That's not really on my radar at the moment. But it is something that I think would be really fun to learn eventually. Kind of overdid it a little bit with that A, but I think it's alright if I just kind of scratch that off just a little bit and kind of compensate over on this side. It should be fine. There we go. Yeah, it's alright. I'm okay with that. And then just kind of scratch it a little bit on this side, just to kind of compensate for overdoing it on that A a little bit. Another part too is I just like the feeling of when you're kind of like hitting the card with the toothpick. It kind of like when you're hitting the card with the toothpick, it kind of like sends these little vibrations into your fingers while you're working on it, and I actually kind of really enjoy that. It may sound really weird, but it makes me feel like I'm getting progress done, but it's also kind of soothing, you know. And even hearing the teeny tiny sounds of the toothpick sliding up against the paint is also very nice. It's just an overall relaxing hobby, and it's a lot of fun to do. And I really do enjoy it. I really do, at my very core. And I mean, obviously, I enjoy it because this is what my channel started with. Like, I wasn't playing video games or anything on my channel. I was just doing alterations for cards. And then I kind of fell into doing Let's Plays because it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it, and my audience really enjoyed it as well. So yeah. And then the next part I want to work on is, so I did that. So now I want to focus on the word forest here, which is very heavily coated in paint, and I really need to get this to look better because it looks like a big mess right now. So I'm just going to kind of really try to get this to look right. I got really lucky with how I set up the... I'm going to bring you guys in really close so that I can see better as well. So I'm going to bring you guys in super, super close. Really get that magnification going on here. But anyways, I did a really good job with the words down below where it's like tap for a green and all that. But this particular part with the word forest, I made a big mess out of it. So it's kind of not looking super nice at the moment, but that's what I'm changing right now as we're speaking. Devlin says they're a lot of fun. It's a rewarding and forgiving process. I'm planning on putting together a comprehensive guide soon. Okay, Devlin, that sounds pretty cool. There are good resources out there already, though. Yeah, I definitely saved one particular tutorial that I was kind of studying a little bit to try and teach myself how to alter foils. I just haven't really experimented with it yet. So, because it just seems like it's really really out there. So I kind of have to. It's something that I'm going to have to pick up eventually, but it's not something I'm trying to do at the moment. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to kind of soak my toothpick just a little bit more. It's getting a little rough on the card, so that means it's pretty dry. So I'm going to soak it just a little bit longer, and then I'll continue on. But I think that after I get this all set up, once I finish scratching off the excess paint and all that, I will probably finish up the stream because I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm pretty comfortable with it. I think I like how it looks. It's very interesting. I like all the misty effects and all the grass and the leaves and the root systems, and I'm pretty happy with it. So, but I'm going to continue just trying to get this to be exactly right. And then we'll probably wrap it up from there. So let's see what I can get done here. I'm just trying to get the words here. Well, the word, I should say, not words, because it's only one word. It's the word forest. And this T is a little hidden, so I'm going to try and get this T to show up just a little bit better. God, even in the camera, it's kind of tough to see. You know, there are times where I've thought about getting like a big old magnifying lens that I could just have over my workstation so that I could kind of like magnify on the things that I really want to be able to see better. But, you know, I'm not sure about it yet, though. I mean, it's a possibility, but I don't know yet. Yeah. This F is just not getting where I want it to be. So I definitely need to scratch it just a little bit more. Expand out just a little bit more. And I think we're almost there, though. Let's see. Maybe sliding it over here and kind of cutting down that corner a little bit. Just like that. Hey, I think that looks pretty good. I think I like that. Maybe I will bring this down just a little bit. Just a teeny, itty-bitty, tiny amount. Just like that. I think that looks pretty good. I think I'm pretty satisfied with that. Let me zoom you guys out a little bit. Then you guys can see the full scale of what we have accomplished here today. Let me kind of focus you guys a little bit better. There we go. All right. Oh, well, hold on a sec. Come on, camera. Come on, camera. Come on. I know you want to focus. I know you want to do it. There we go. That looks pretty darn good. All right, well, there we have it. I'm pretty satisfied with it. I think it looks really nice. I think we did a pretty good job with scratching off the paint for the words there. Devlin says, there exists a magnifying glass desk lamp that had a lot of mobility. Pretty cool for alters. I will look into that, Devlin. Devlin also says that it looks good. Thank you so much, Devlin. I'm really glad that you think it looks good. Ratherwood says, I see a face when it's unfocused, like the trunk is the nose and the text is the teeth. Oh, yeah, I do kind of see that. That's weird. Like, it's got, like, little eyes, like, down here. That's really weird. I would have probably never saw it unless you said something, Ratherwood, but I do see it. That's pretty crazy. But yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with this, and we went for about an hour and a half, so, I mean, that's actually longer than I thought I was going to take to finish this up. Yeah, it's weird. I definitely see it, too. The little face. It's very strange. But I like it. I really like it. This was also pretty cool because I had never altered an older land like this before, and it was very fun to kind of experience it and try it out. It was definitely something different, kind of changed it up on me a bit. Looks like a sick dude. Oh no, it looks sick, dude. Okay, I understand. Thank you, Ratherwood. I'm glad you like it. Um, yeah, I'm very satisfied with it. I think it came out great. And I know it took me a long time to get this put together and finished, but I think it's awesome now, and I'm glad I kind of just took the time to get it done right. Um, so yeah, this is probably going to be it though. So thank you guys all so much for coming out. This was a lot of fun. I'm really glad we got to do it. I'm glad we got to have this bonus third stream for this week, and it felt really fulfilling. I knew I wanted to do it. Um, Ratherwood says it's like the roots are wrapped around the text. Yeah, I like that too. I like it too. So thank you all so much for being here. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you guys can know when I'm doing things. There's all sorts of interesting things down in the description below. So like, I have a PayPal in there if you want to donate. I have a mailing address, which is in fact a P.O. box. It's not my home address. So if you wanted to send me fan mail or anything like that, you can do so. There's also, I have my DeviantArt profile page in the description below. So if you wanted to see more artwork for me, then that's how you would be able to check it out. Oh, it looks like Bo Falcon only just got in here. I'm sorry, Bo. I'm ending the stream. But I really appreciate you making the effort to make it in here anyway, so thank you so much, Bo. You can watch it on the playback, brother. You definitely can do that. I really appreciate it if you do. But anyways, thank you guys all so much for being here. I had a wonderful time hanging out with you guys, and as I always like to say every single time, follow your dreams, guys, because when you follow your dreams, that's how you live your best life possible, and I know every single one of you can do it no matter what way you do it. So I will see you guys all next time. Have a great night, and thank you for being here. Bye, guys. Bye. Where's my button to turn it off? There it is. I found it. Bye, guys.